We're going to talk about a topic that I'm obsessed with, which is this kind of like 200K mark in business and what to do with it, about it, all the things. I feel like y'all have probably heard me say this before. We're going to talk about it a little bit today, and then we're talking about what to do about it. But I really feel like this is one of the hardest stages of business, and I don't think it gets talked about nearly enough, is how difficult this like high, like hundred, to be as specific as possible, like 180K to 250K kind of area sometimes can be. Um, so we'll go into details about why that is. I'll talk about like what we can do about it, how to feel um like more stable from that place, but also like how to like really exponentially grow from that place. I feel like I've had a lot of clients that have come to me at that stage, and then we've doubled within a year. And I think there are very specific reasons that has happened. And so I just want to be able to share those and get into that. So if you're here, say hi. Um, let's do it. I was like, did I have anything else to say? I don't think I did. Um, okay, so first thing, again, I've kind of talked about this before, but it feels important to just sort of like say again, why is this stage so difficult? Um, Here's why it's really hard. The money at this stage feels good. Like it's starting to matter. I think at a certain point in your business where you're like, hey Terry, thanks for being here. At a certain point in your business, like there's this thing where you're like just trying to make more in terms of like almost like feel like the business is getting off the ground. But when we get to this stage, hey, Allison, when you get to this stage, what can really happen is you're almost like, oh my God, now it really matters. Like, obviously, it's always matters to make money in your business, but I think you guys get what I mean, where it's like not just small anymore. It's like, oh, like it really needs to keep this going. This is like more than like a side hustle or, a thing that I'm doing over here, or even like a passion project. It's like a full-fledged business, I think is what starts to happen you know, when we're getting past six figures, it's like, oh, this matters. Like probably, hey, Steph, probably it like really matters what that money looks like in your family, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that that part's really important to say because what ultimately means is the pressure starts to stack at this point. You're kind of past that stage where you're just like, oh my God, like people are hiring me. This is insane. Or like, oh my God, I made like my first six figures. Holy shit. Like the excitement of that has kind of, or the newness, like the novelty of that has kind of started to wear off. And it's like, oh, this is like the real deal. Hey, Sarah, it's good to see you. This is like, I always like do this on this live. I get hot and then I'm like, why am I hot? Because my light's on and because I always forget to turn down the air before this, then I always have to do it on here. Okay. Okay. Um, but yeah, like the pressure just starts to stack at this stage of business quite a bit. Where it doesn't feel kind of like that fun, newness, novelty. You like can't believe someone's, paying you kind of thing. You're like, oh, this is like real. This money matters. And now I need to figure out what to do. And so what a lot of people do at this stage is they start to really overinvest. Um, they kind of also have cash flow to invest now. So they start to really overinvest. They're like, I'll like whoever has a solution to get me further, like I'll take it, I'll do it. And so it really kind of becomes this very like the money's coming in, but it's going out very quickly. And obviously, by the way, this is like very broad generalizations. I'm not saying everyone at this stage is doing it. I'm just saying there are like things that I think themes that come up around these things, not for everyone in every way, but you get me. So anyway, we tend to start to overinvest. We're like, oh, I need to fix this and I need to hire this and I need to take a course on this and I need to join this program. And like, there's such an intensity to like keep it going that you end up kind of running yourself and your income into the ground, or maybe I should say profit into the ground because you're like so willing to like spend more to make more. But really, what is needed at this stage is sort of like a leveling out, kind of that like slow down to speed up thing that everyone has heard of but we all hate. And everyone hates that. Like that's normal. It's like so frustrating to like slow down to speed up in your business, like especially when you feel like you've finally gotten traction. So I just want to like name how normal that is if you've been there, like, hi, same. Um, but when you don't take a minute to do that at this stage and to like really build some systems and really build some structure in, you will not just constantly feel like you're continuing to wing it, but you'll also feel like you're not making or bringing home the money that's worth it to continue to do that because you're spending so much of that to try to grow more. And so many people can't get past this stage. Like, this is where they plateau and they're kind of in this constant loop of making just enough, but not feeling steady about how they made it. So they reinvest a ton of it. And then they feel like, well, because they invested so much, now they have to make more. And it's like this plateau that's really hard to get out of because you're in this constant cycle. Steph said, totally hear you, but slowing down can seem counterintuitive to what you should be doing to scale past this level. 100%. It's like exactly like the thing our brain does not want to do. We're like, I'm trying to go further and now I'm supposed to slow down. That makes no sense. Now, obviously it does. And we're going to talk about why that does. But like, to our brains, that is very threatening. Like, again, especially for all the reasons I said, that when you're at that place, you're like, wait, I have a real business. This money really matters. It's so threatening to slow it down. It's so threatening to feel like I'm pulling back in any way. And it feels like you would be risking everything that you built. So there is like some real true fear there and like nervous system work to do there. Um, Hey, Megan. Steph said, and when you make more, you, or at least I feel that you should be investing more to call in bigger income goals. Right, right, right. Totally. I mean, and honestly, that's a little bit of the trap of our industry too, is like this constant, like, the only way to get more is invest more. And like, I'm not saying don't invest, but I'm just saying like there is a difference between investing and over investing. And I think at this stage of business, it's really, really, really easy to tip into over investment because you're trying, like, it's almost like where you feel kind of cloggy at this stage. We're like, how do I hold on to it? How do I keep it going? And like, that's when we tend to tip into like over investment. Um, so totally counter, totally difficult, and really hard for our nervous system to calibrate to this. That's also another point of slowing down, is like it does give your nervous system a chance to calibrate to where you're at because it is a big leap, right? Um, so let's kind of get into some of the practicals because I feel like that is very helpful. Um, sorry, I was going to talk about the practicals, but I do want to talk about one other thing because I think Steph brought up a good point. Like, what does investment versus overinvestment mean? To me, overinvestment is like I'm investing at a level where I absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, have to make more money as quickly as possible, or I'm going to be in a difficult position. That's overinvestment to me. That's like, ugh, I don't know if I can pay for this in next month or 2 months from now. I'm gonna just pay for it and like hope that I can. Now, I don't mean that you can't put it on a credit card or that you can't whatever. Like, all of us have done that at some stage in our business. And I'm certainly not saying like you have to have all the cash in the bank for that. But I'm saying that if you feel like, oh, I won't even be able to like have space or room for that, or that will absolutely send me if I haven't added insert thing, $5,000 of income per month, like I will literally be in a difficult situation. That's where I think we start getting into overinvestment. Investment that feels like stretchy and it's like, ooh, this is going to stretch me. This is going to make me want to show up. This is going to make me want to do things differently, but I can do it, is different. So that's important to say. Like, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like Steph had a good point there. It's like there really is a difference between like, I need to stretch into this and I'm putting myself and my safety at risk. It is never, ever, 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 ever easy to scale when you've put yourself and your safety at risk, hands down. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is the hardest place to build from. And so when you get to this level, if you start fully over investing and doing that, it's going to be even harder to scale because now you're going to be in so much fight or flight that it's going to be really hard to just like do the simple things that need to get done to continue growing. And so that's like why we don't want to do that. You know, I also think that like this is a totally unpopular personal opinion, I'm sure, but I really do think that this kind of like very masculine, like burn the boats mentality I don't think that works for a lot of women in business. I really don't. I think it is like super dysregulating to us. I think men are much more motivated by pressure than we are as women. And I think like this idea that like if you just give someone a ton of your money, that you're going to be so motivated by the pressure of that, that you will act different is like typically not how most women function and work. What typically is true is yes, we need to stretch ourselves and our identity, but we need some safety around that makes us feel able to do that. And when we have both, like the stretch and the safety kind of combined, that's when growth really happens. So if at this point you get very in the like invest it all, like push myself so hard mentality, you're almost missing all of the regulated elements that it would take to build the system, build the structure, hire the right team member. Because you're going to be in so much like activation, fight or flight, whatever, at that point. Hey Jess, hey Mary, good to see y'all. Megan said great distinction between stretching versus over investing. Totally. I think it's so important that we like know that. Um, okay, so when I say build the systems, build the structure, hire the team, like let's talk about all that. Um, Structures and systems. So this is what I mean by like slowing down to speed up. At this point of your business, it's starting to usually become a business that would be hard to hold on your own. Maybe you can. This is typically where it gets heavy. It's like I could hold it all on my own, but like it's getting pretty heavy. Like, it'd be really nice if someone came in and like, held a little of this with me. Um, and so sometimes it's someone, like I just said, it's team, or sometimes it's something like systems and structures. And obviously, usually it's both. But we hate, again, our brains hate thinking about focusing on back end stuff when we're just starting to get that growth trajectory. We're like, fuck this system. Like, I just need to go get more clients. But the problem is, again, this becomes like these really insane cycles where, okay, so you fuck the systems and structures, you go get more clients, and then they come in, and then you don't have time to market. You don't have time to keep growing because you're so inundated with these new people that just came into your world and serving them. And so then one of two things happen. Like, here's where the fork comes in the road. You either end up dropping a lot of the growth related things because you're serving your people, or you end up serving your people quite poorly because you're still trying to focus on all the growth related things. And either one is going to massively hurt your business, right? If you're not giving good service, like you don't have a sustainable business model, period, end of story. Equally, if you do not have a consistent ability to show up and market, you do not have a sustainable business, period, end of story, right? And so what happens when we keep just being like growth at all costs is we do not set up structures to make sure that we can still continue to grow and market while serving more and more clients well. And so from that point, we are trapped and we're kind of always like vacillating between the two. It's what a lot of people do at this stage is they'll market, they'll bring clients in, then they'll spend all their time serving them. And then they'll be like, oh, fuck, those clients are leaving. Okay, now let me go over here and now I'm going to market. And then I get those clients in and then I drop the marketing because I'm serving them. And they get in these cycles where it just feels never ending. And they're like, I don't know how I'll get out of this. Um, and I don't know how I'll replicate it because every time I feel like I'm starting from scratch, right? It's like, well, I got those clients because I did X, but I don't have time to do X right now. Or I got those clients because I was doing Y, but like, is Y even what I should start with again now that I'm kind of starting over? And again, it becomes this like whole cycle. Okay, so I don't have to talk about this the whole time, even though I feel like I could, but do y'all get me? Like the plateau here, the endless like back and forth cycles here are really hard to break unless you're building back end things that help this. Unless you're putting yourself in a place of systematizing, regulating, building out support. That is the only way you can continue to serve a lot of clients and scale your marketing. Yeah, Steph said true. It's hard to scale when you're operating at that level and in the weeds of all the things. 100%. It's really hard when you are like the service provider, the marketer, and then the back end operator. Like when you are all those things all the time at a level that, of multiple six figures where you have enough clients to be bringing in multiple six figures, it is going to get hard fast. And so when people are investing at this stage, they tend to overinvest in more learning that they don't even have time to implement. So what I would be investing in at this stage is coaching or support or strategy or whatever that helps you get these back end processes and systems set up and team members that will be with you to grow them. So here are what some of the back end systems are. Like, do you have a calendar that actually works for you? I know that sounds really obvious. But I cannot tell you how many clients have come to me at around this mark and they've been like, I'm just really overwhelmed. I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what are you using to like manage your tasks in your calendar? And they're like, I don't know. Like, I just do what I need to do. I'm like, okay. That is incredibly stressful. Like you even saying that to me is making me stressed out to hear it. I'm kidding, but you get what I mean. Like the idea that you're just supposed to like remember it all, manage it all, and do it all without anything to support you in that is insane. And then half these women are also moms who are like doing all of that in their life and home too. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. Um, but you don't realize it until you say it out loud or until someone gives you that look on a coaching call, like, yeah, you get that that's crazy, right? Um, Tara said, oh my God, yes to this. Jess said, my tasks exist in my head. Party of one. Hello. Steph said, intellectually, I know that I use my calendar to manage my time on business activities, but what really happens is using it only for meetings. Yes, totally. There are like 100 different ways to do this. I like have done this a bunch of different ways over time. I typically manage my meetings and my like big to-dos like record podcasts or like go on live stream or content chunks on my calendar. And then otherwise I like literally just like write out a to-do list every day or type out rather and like make little notes on it. And then I have tasks in Basecamp from like clients and team. Like it is not like I'm not like using AI automation and blah 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 blah. And I'm not even saying I'm doing it perfectly. I'm just saying like I know every day what I need to get done, and I know for sure that it's reasonable for me to get it done that day. It's as simple as that. Like, do I know what I need to get done today? And is that actually reasonable? Jess, yeah. I have a little printer right there. Every day, at the end of my day, I'm like, okay, this is what is on my or on my like list for tomorrow. Print. I don't know. Again, I don't think it's the most efficient, but I really like it. It really does something for me. There's nothing that like satisfies me more than crossing that out. And also I have a printer because I feel like I order many things and then do many returns. So I like have to print out labels. Does no one else have this problem? This is such a funny development in your person. I love it. I love to keep you on your toes. I'm so happy. But again, like this does not have to be like intricate. I could just literally write this fucking thing out. Like it does not have to be anything like mine, but you have to have something where what you are able to track that what you have to do is clear and is reasonable. And where most people miss it is the reasonable part. They far, far, far overestimate what they think they can do. And that's again how they get in that plateau because they're like, oh, I can take this course and I can do this thing and I can say yes to all of this stuff and I can be part of this summit and I can blah, 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 blah. And then all of it starts to crack because there's actually not a way for them to be able to do that. And that's when it gets so difficult. And it's also when it gets really difficult to go, okay, who am I hiring or what am I hiring out? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is such a dumb example, but like I had a task on my list um from last week that I like didn't get done for my team had put on there. And as soon as I like went to do it and I was like, why is this still not done? And then I was like, wait, I don't have to do this. Like, and I like went to my OBM this morning and I was like, hey, I found someone that can do this. Can you like hire this out? And she was like, oh my God, I'll do that for you. No problem. Like I got you. And it was so simple. But it took me being like, oh, I had a task that I like did not seem to have time to accomplish. What's the problem with that? And who else needs to do it? Where if it was just living in my head all the time, I would just keep being like, oh yeah, I'll get to that. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. And then it would be like too late to hire someone by the time it like really mattered. So I just think that that's so important. Like we really have to be able to see like what is reasonable so that we can fill in those gaps instead of waiting until the last second and then our business is running us because it's constantly chaotic. It's constantly like, oh my God, now I need to run and do this. Or like I invested in this course and I've never even opened it because like where would I possibly have time to do that? Like all of those things stack up really quickly. Um, uh, Tara said I do something so similar. I have everything organized in Asana, but I write out my daily tasks so I can cross them off every day. Tara, do we have like what is this? Is this like do I need to get tested for something? Is this like high achiever stuff? Like I'm glad it's not just me. The crossing out is just so satisfying. I can't let it go. Um, even like if like I had a client to do in Basecamp, like if it was like review Jess's copy, I would still I would still type Jess to do on this so I could cross it out. I'm just saying, Jess can't get over my printing. You write them on a sticky note. I actually like that idea too. Do you, because it would be like the physical sensation still of like crumple, throw, something. Like I feel like that bringing that physicality or like completion to something is so nice. I like the sticky note. Okay, so that's number one. Do you have a task to manage or do you have a way to manage this stuff? Um, Number two is for the things that are crumble or burn. I like picture you having like a pot that you throw all the to-dos in and then like burn later, which feel is very vibey. Um, Okay, the next thing is like, do you have like systems for what you're doing? Again, I feel like so many people at this stage are I kind of know how we launch, but most of the time I just kind of throw it together at the end, or like we sort of have a client onboarding system, but it like mostly lives in my head. And all of this, again, it's like you can carry it, but it gets so heavy where it's like you having to remember, did we do every step of that client onboarding? You having to be like, oh yeah, what are we supposed to do for the launch again? Is so difficult. But it's also where things really fracture because you can't actually bring someone on and get help. And so in that phase, you're often like, well, like, how would I even get help from someone? Like, I've had clients ask me this all the time. They're like, yeah, fine. I go hire someone tomorrow, but so the fuck what? Like, I'm the only one who knows what we're doing. It's going to be more work for me to like tell them what we're supposed to be doing and like download what's in my brain, get them on board, blah, blah, blah. Like that's so much work. And the truth is, it is like it actually is a lot of work when we haven't built systems to then try to bring someone in. And that's why we have to be thinking about this now. Like it's not going to get easier at 300K. Trust me. Like it only gets harder as your income goes up to download what's in your brain to people, to get someone on board to help you, all of those things. So there's two ways to do it. Way number one is to be like, this is where I slow down to speed up. I'm going to just decide that the best use of my time is getting some of these processes like written down and documented so that someone can actually step in and help me and I can really spend my time on the things that matter. And or you go, who the fuck cares how I've onboarded a client in the past? I'm willing to bring someone in and let them build out their whole own system. I don't even care. I just care that someone else is holding it other than me. Either one can be good. Like I've had that conversation with clients too, where they're like, oh yeah, but how would they know everything about how we onboard? I'm like, do you care? Is there something incredibly special about this like one process that you have that absolutely must in every way, shape, or form be replicated? And they're like, oh, no. I'm like, okay. Like then we could just hire somebody and they could build it out. And so that's a really important thing to remember too, is that sometimes, yes, hiring is a lot of downloading your brain. And then sometimes it's just being willing to like let go of stuff and being like, okay, like what system do you think is best if you're an expert at this? Hey, if you're going to come work in my business, like what is the easiest way for you typically to onboard? Like, and am I willing to lean into that? Like we cannot make everything so important that we're not willing to get help on it. We have to have structures that support that. This also is what lets you continue to grow, because like what happens in a lot of businesses is like you'll start with like a VA or whatever. And then that person will like really come in and like know so much about your business, right? And then they kind of progress. Like maybe they step into bigger roles, or they become your OBM or whatever. Well, how are we replacing their work? Oh, yeah, if we have systems set up for that, if we can be like, oh, here's our system for onboarding clients. I could like, and add a little like, we could hire someone tomorrow and give them our, SOP for onboarding clients, and they could replicate it, right? I'm not saying it would always go perfectly, but I'm just saying like that doesn't stress me out. I don't lose sleep over like, oh my God, what if XYZ happens tomorrow? I'm like, well, like it would be fine. This is the slowdown to speed up. If you start to have these structures in your business, you can go really fast, so that when you're like, wait, I need this person who's doing amazing to step into my OBM role, you don't want to be like, oh my God, but nobody could come in behind her. How would we possibly do that? It's going to take months to get someone else in and train them. If you're like, oh, no, no, we have enough SOPs that somebody could step in behind her tomorrow, you can grow fast. Okay. It's like as simple as that. This is the stuff that helps you sprint when you need to, that helps you get support when you need to. But if you do not have some of those in place, you're always going to feel like you're winging it, and you're always going to feel like you're like one wrong choice away from like dropping all the balls or missing something or something going wrong. And that creates a lot of this like low grade anxiety all the time. And then you wonder why your nervous system isn't calibrating to your next level. That's why. Okay. Next thing, obviously these are intertwined, but it's like the systems, or I mean the team stuff rather, sorry. Like where most people will invest is like in that next, like, whatever learning, like, let me go learn LinkedIn or something crazy. And if you do not have a really solid VA, OBM team member in place, that is going to hold things for you while you go spend time learning and mastering and then getting on LinkedIn. There is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, no fucking point in buying that strategy or whatever, because you're not going to be able to implement it. Like it's literally as simple as that. Unless stuff is coming off your plate and being held really well by someone else, you do not have the energy and capacity to just keep adding more. And this is the stage of business where you have to go, what got me here won't get me there. I cannot just keep stacking, cannot keep adding more and more to my plate, or at a certain point, all of it breaks, the plate cracks and everything falls, right? If you're like, I am getting stuff off my plate before I put something else on it, that is how you grow. It's as simple as that. Nova said these behind the scenes systems and structures inside are so amazing. I love it. But really, it can feel so much more complicated, and it can feel like this is like the last thing that we want to do. But truly, like this is the stuff where you're like, oh yeah, I don't have to do our onboarding anymore. I'm going to give that to my team members. So actually that frees up a ton of time. I could easily go do LinkedIn stuff. Like it's so obvious when you say it like that, but in the moment it's obviously really difficult. But anything that you want to add, we need to start thinking about like, well, what's coming off? I have this conversation with clients all the time. They'll be like, oh, I had this idea. Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And I'm like, I love the idea. It's not a bad idea, but like, what else is coming off your plate in order for you to do that? Like, can we figure that out? Because that's sustainability and scalability. Scalability is not, it's literal like term or definition is based on doing less, right? It's being able to make more revenue without like an increase in energy and expenses. So if making more just means you have to do more and more and more, there's obviously a cap to how much you can do. So that's not scalable. And two, it's not actually helping you in any way, shape, or form, because you're just adding to your plate. Like you're still probably making the same amount of money. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe even less per hour, actually. It's not useful. So you have to have someone else that can come in and do these things. You get to decide what that is. Like maybe your first hire is social media, maybe your first hire is back end stuff. Typically, I would recommend back end stuff, but you do you. Um, you really have to look at what is coming off so that I can go do these other things. And you really, really have to be so conscious and careful to not keep investing in more things until you can reasonably and authentically and honestly say to yourself, this is what is coming off my plate so that I have the time to dedicate to that. This is what we're not used to doing at this stage of business. We're so used to just saying yes to more, 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 everything, everything, everything. Um, and this is where the rubber meets the road and it kind of has to stop. Don't say yes to every invite you get. Don't be on every single, whatever, what are they called? Um, oh my God, my brain. What's the thing where people like, there's like multiple speakers. I literally cannot recall this word. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about though. Summit. There we go. Don't say yes to every summit. Like you have to be conscious of it. And that's why it also really ties, thank you, Jess Summit. That's why it also really ties back to the do you know what your like expectations are of what you can get done in a day and are they reasonable? Because you also have to be able to know, with that being said, what can you get off your plate and then what is left over? Like that really matters. And I feel like a lot of people think since scaling means something like, oh, I'll just scale a course or a mastermind or whatever. They think that it means they don't have to like care about their time. Like so many people will say, like, well, I'm not trading time for dollars. And it's like we're all kind of trading time for dollars in one way or another. Whether your time is spent marketing or otherwise, like we do things to make money. And so if we are not being conscious of our time and energy, we are going to struggle to make more dollars that are worth making. Like it's that simple. I think that it's easy to be like, oh, I don't have to worry about that because like my time isn't spent one to one. It doesn't matter. It's the same shit. It really is. Your time might be spent, in building out an ads funnel or marketing or whatever, but you have to know, is what's on your plate still reasonable for that? Can you get it all done in a day? And who else are you delegating to? And then when you delegate to them, do we have systems that make it really easy for them to do it so they're not constantly asking you 500 questions? And so that if they leave or if they, step into another role in your business, that someone else can take that in. Like that's kind of the whole thing. I want to get into the like mindset piece of it too. But from like a systems perspective, like that really is it. And that matters so much. Like none of this has to be crazy or complicated. Um, but if you're at this point where you're constantly feeling like you're plateauing, where you're over investing, where you don't feel any certainty, and why we stop feeling certainty at that place is because we actually stop trusting ourselves to get it done. So this is the stage of business that fractures self-trust for a lot of people because of exactly what I was talking about. They'll like decide they're going to do a bunch of things and they'll buy the course and they'll think they should do this and then they won't do it. Probably because they don't have the systems and structures in place to do it, right? And it starts to fracture self-trust and they start to be like, "Oh my God, like I don't know how I'm going to get the next client. I don't trust that I'm going to be able to like get the marketing done for that. I feel like this is when a lot of people say like, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it." And a lot of women do that in this really like, I'm being so hard on myself way. Instead of like, I've had so many clients where this happens. They come to me and they go, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it. Can you help me with that? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, tell me about your week. Tell me what's on your plate. Da, da, da. And I would say 8 times out of 10, it's like, it's because what you should be doing and the amount of support and structure and systems you have are not fucking reasonable. Like, and that's why a lot of my clients end up doubling in a year is because the problem was that what they were expecting of themselves was unreasonable. And so they stay in this cycle of like continuing to expect these unreasonable things, harming their self-trust over and over again. And then going, no, 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 this time I mean it. I'm really just going to do more. It's fine. And then they don't. And then it continues, right? And then it makes them even more scared to like go invest in team or slow down to set up systems because they're like, well, how can I trust myself on this investment? My other ones haven't been going well. Or like, why should I slow down to set up systems? I just like fully over invested and I need to make up for that. But I promise you, if you do not like hit the brakes on that cycle, it will continue over and over and over. What you really have to do, excuse me, is get in the weeds with the systems and with your calendar and your schedule and figuring out what is reasonable, and then also knowing what's really going to grow you, I think, is another piece. But when we're so in that kind of like heightened state, we think everything is going to grow us. You know what I mean? We're like, I must do all of these things immediately, instead of being like, well, what's worked up to this point is this. What if I doubled down on that more? Again, I know that can feel scary, but truly that makes such a difference. And so the mindset here of feeling, what's the word I want to use? I think feeling such a sense of urgency and a lack of trust in yourself to accomplish it is really kind of like the worst part. Um, instead of when we slow down and we're like, well, actually, what typically gets me clients is this. Actually, when I do this, it works really well. The problem is I don't have space to do that right now. Oh yeah, what has gotten me my last 6 clients? Like I'll ask people that all the time. I'm like, well, how'd your last 6 clients find you? And they're like, oh yeah, well, they all blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, so why aren't you doing blah blah blah? Like, why I like haven't had time. Like, okay. So that's the number one problem. It's not that you need to go find a new strategy. Actually, fucking don't find a new strategy. You know exactly what got you the last 6 clients. What is actually the problem is that you do not have the time, energy, or capacity to go do the thing that got you the clients. And so instead, you're trying to do an even harder thing by like, whatever it is. Like, I'm going to go now build on LinkedIn or whatever it is, right? Don't go do the harder thing yet, right? Go over here and do the thing that you know reliably works and create the time and space to do it. I cannot tell you how difficult that can be for our brains, but how simple it really is in practice. We're at 200K, you already know what's working. I promise you. There is no chance that you've made that much money and that there is not a reliable theme or thread that we could find in that. Hands down. Like, if you think that that's true in your business, like literally send me a DM on Instagram. If you're like, there's no thread or theme, I promise you we can find that. But there is, right? And if you are not able to consistently lean into that, that is where you're going to stop your growth. So that is why you need to slow down to get all of these back end things in place so that you are not just telling yourself a lie that now you're going to go build out this whole new strategy, right? Where you're like, I'm actually giving myself the space to see this strategy through that I know is working really, really well, that will take me to my next level. Like that, hands down, is how you double in a year. You go, this works really well. I have enough data telling me how this works. Let me get a bunch of stuff off my plate so I can double, triple down on this. You're going to grow really fast that way. Like, truly. If you're like hands in a million places, can't remember what your to do is, always kind of reacting to something, always worried that you're going to drop the ball, never quite feel like you know what's getting you clients, it is going to be chaos and it's going to be really hard to grow from that place. And if you do grow from that place, it's going to feel like even more chaos. That's when your nervous system is going to start to like absolutely like, you know, like fight or flight mode. Like, this is not worth it. I cannot keep doing this. I cannot sustain this. So, the gist. Look at your fucking calendar. I know your to-dos. I know it's so annoying. It's so hard. It feels so stupid. But if you cannot reasonably know what you have to get done in a day and that you have time to do it, there's a problem. Figure out your systems. You should not be holding all of that in your brain, and or you could be hiring someone else to build that out for you. But like, you cannot be the holder of all of that. And then look at your team before you invest in any other stuff. Make sure that you have really good support, even decent support. I was literally just talking to one of my clients about this. She's much further along, but she had some team member turnover. And we were kind of talking about like, how is she going to crush this next launch? And I was like, listen, the way you're going to crush this next launch is you have to get this new team member in. You have to get yourself supported. We literally know what you would need to do in this next launch to crush it. It's just a matter of, do you have the support to execute on that? And she was like, holy shit, you're so right. Like, I was about to like sit in this call and plan out an entire new strategy with you. And actually, like, her last launch sold out in like 36 hours. and was super, super successful. And she doesn't need to rethink that. She needs to replicate that and like, make these micro tweaks on what already works really, really well. But if she is the one managing every ounce of this launch and the tech and the this and the that, there's no way she's going to have time to do that. And it's not going to work as well. And then she's going to be really, really frustrated. And so this stuff makes such a difference. And truly, not only is it going to make you feel like way better, like, have some sense of like certainty, like you're not winging it and you know how to grow, but it's going to regulate you so much. And that regulated state is what says to your brain and body, like it's safe to make more money. We feel really good making this amount of money. It's safe to make more. When you're like, oh my God, this feels so chaotic a lot. I feel really anxious. I'm over investing and I don't know how I'm going to make it up. You're telling your brain and body, this is not safe. Nothing about this is safe. It's so risky. We can't make more. We can't make more, have more risk. Right. And so this part matters so much. I hope that helps. I know it's not the fun or exciting thing, but I promise you it's so nice. It's so, so nice. And it's what lets you sprint. Like I don't need to do this necessarily, but what's so cool in my business is that I know if tomorrow I went to my team and was like, hey, I want to do this whole thing and I want to sprint it out for the next 2 months and I'm actually going to launch a program and I'm going to whatever, I know they would be like, cool, we got you. And that to me is so safety producing. I'm not doing it, but knowing that like if I was in a situation where I needed to, I could, it's really helpful. It really, really, really makes a difference too. My mindset, how I feel about my business, how I relate to my business, how I feel about my money making abilities, all of those things. So hope that helps. It is a hard stage of business, truly. Like, let's be honest. And also, there are a lot of things you can put in place that really help it. So, I hope that helps. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. As always, again, thank you. We'll give away a $100 gift card or any of my products as a thank you for being here. And I hope you all have a lovely week. Bye, guys.